Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bloodstained Wings, and one of my friends actually inspired me by showing me a picture of their beautiful pond that they go to on a regular basis. Well, it's a lake, but that's okay. And I decided to paint it. This is my painting of a sunset at Round Lake. At the end of this video, I will show you what the picture looks like and what my painting looks like in comparison. There are some differences, but nonetheless, I was inspired. So I hope you guys enjoy this painting, and if you choose to paint along with me, feel free, you're always welcome, and you can pick your own reference picture that you would like to paint. Okay, so as you saw in the intro, we're going to be starting this painting right now. Grab your goop on your brush, and if you started like I did with a stark contrast between the background and the foreground, please feel free to put down the gesso like I did and wait for it to fully dry before adding your goop to your canvas. Obviously we're going to cover the whole canvas in our goop, the same as we usually do. And oh, I got a little bit of the gesso on top of my painting. That's okay, we're just going to scrub it right out with a little bit more goop and everything will be fine. See, you can't even notice. And then it's all good. So continue to add your goop like you usually do. You might notice at this point that you can't hear any of the brush strokes like you usually do in my ASMR painting along. Well, that's because I forgot to have my mic on. So VoiceOver BSW has been taking over, and this is my voiceover. You're welcome. I hope that you're enjoying it thoroughly as much as I am. So we're going to continue to add color, and we're going to start with adding some white. Some titanium white over the entire painting right now, and hopefully it looks really nice and you guys like it. I'm talking about adding the white right now. There we go. There it is. I'll tell you, doing voiceover, not as easy as you might think. I spend a lot of time on my paintings letting you guys enjoy the sound of me painting. So it's kind of hard to voice over them. Anyways, as you're adding your titanium white, don't forget to paint over pretty much the entire thing. It's okay that you get it on the trees as well as on the leaves, and even a little bit on the bottom. Don't go all the way to the bottom, but a little bit of the bottom is okay. It's going to add a natural highlight to the inside of those tree areas, which is exactly what you want to do. So please make sure you have a nice, thin, even coat of all of those colors, and by colors I mean just white, on the entire thing after you've done your goop. Very important to make sure that it is after you've done your goop. So, next we're going to get some of the yellow ochre on our brush. Make sure it's just a little bit of the yellow ochre, but enough so that it can actually be yellow ochre. And then you're going to kind of set it in the middle, just like the reference painting. Please make sure to check your reference painting or your reference picture as often as possible. That wasn't nearly enough yellow ochre. There you go, BSW. Get some more of that yellow ochre in there. You know what? Go ahead and get some more. Go on. Go on. There you go. Yellow ochre, as I have said many times, not a very strong color. So if you need more of it, feel free to get more of it, and that's okay. Go ahead and do that. I want to have also some of this yellow ochre down by the coastal region where the water meets the ground. It's gonna be right there. It is gonna be a grassy area near the where the grass meets the water. Not so much a sandy beach, but that's okay. It's very much like a lot of the lakes in Ontario. They're very grassy edged as opposed to sandy edged. Not every lake is Lake Huron. Not every lake is one of the Great Lakes, to be fair. There are a lot of lakes in Canada that are not the Great Lakes, in fact. Fun fact. Alright, now I'm just mixing up some color here. That's going to be a peachy color. I add a little bit of the yellow ochre and a little bit of the alizarin crimson, mixing them together, trying to get a nice peachy color for the middle section of the painting. So there it is there. Very nice peachy color. We're going to get it all the way across the middle section of the painting there, just like in our reference, and then also a little bit reflected down in the water. Try to get it all the way across to the edges there. You're doing great, BSW. Just want to let you know. You're doing a fabulous job. It looks great. Could use a little bit better blending, but you'll get there. Don't worry. I already know. Alright, that looks better. See? More blending. Told ya. You know what I think it needs? A little bit more pink. Why don't you go ahead and add some more pink in there, BSW, from the past. Mix a little color on the side. Have a little more pink in it. She's working on it. Good stuff, good stuff. And there it is. A little bit more pinky of a color in the middle, adding just a little bit of extra alizarin crimson to the middle, making the sky blush. It's like we just kissed the sky, and now it's blushing. All right. I'm going to go back in and blend a little bit more with a clean, dry brush, making sure to start from the yellow section, moving in towards the pinky section. And that's going to make those two colors blend together a lot smoother. And that, you can already see, it's much smoother. So instead of going straight across, we're going in circular motions in the sky. And then in the water area, you can go straight across because it's water. And that's one of the big differences between the sky and the water. Although the colors will be exactly the same, the sky will be much more circularly blended, where the water is going to be more horizontally blended. You want your water to mostly stay horizontal in your paintings, because for the most part they are. Ooh, we're doing finger painting. That's how we do a sun. So yeah. Just gonna put in a little sun right there. Scrape off the excess with the palette knife, nice clean dry palette knife. There you go. And then use your clean dry brush to just blend it out a little bit. And if you blend it out a little bit too much, you can go ahead and do another process, just exactly the same thing as you just did, and then that'll brighten up the whole thing once again, which I'm gonna do, because I thought it needed to be just a bit brighter. There you go. Don't forget to lift off the excess, just like that, or just like this. You can see there's a little bit on my brush, or on my palette knife, so we're just gonna clean that up a bit, and then very, very gently blend that in. And now we're gonna mix a purpley color. Oh no, we're gonna blend first. We're gonna blend a little bit more because I was nervous about the purpley color. Adding phthalo blue to your painting can overtake it very, very quickly. So you want to add just the smidgen. So you know that point when you are recording a video and you realize that the entire time your mic was muted? That just happened. So thank you, VoiceOver BSW, for doing a great job doing the voiceover up until this part. Round of applause. Round of applause. VoiceOver BSW, thank you so much. So now that you're back up to speed, why don't we go ahead and mix a nice peachy color, or not peachy color, a purpley color. So I've got a nice little pile of light pink, and I'm going to add the tiniest smidgen of blue and hope that it doesn't immediately turn blue. It didn't. It actually turned a nice purpley color, but I actually want it to be slightly more blue than that. And I went too far. God, it's so easy to go too far. Okay. I'm just gonna keep mixing colors over here. It's gonna sound great. Okay, purple. Adding white because we need it to be bright and light and lavendery. And I'm hoping that this is on the blue side of purple. On the blue side of purple. So that it looks a little bit different, but it's still purple. Because if we have it too blue, if we just go straight up into blue, what'll happen is green. And we don't want green to happen in our sky. So because I'm trying to avoid green, I'm using kind of a purpley hue. And I'm just gonna kind of mix it in over here. Starting on the outside, moving our way onto the inside. Trying to keep it very, very light. So that it does not dominate the yellow. That's what we don't want. We don't want it to dominate the yellow. Again, don't worry about this stuff. We'll be able to deal with that later. Don't you worry about it. So very gently, we're gonna blend this together. Okay, I'm actually gonna switch brushes because I don't want to add more, I want to blend. So switching brushes to this brush, which had some of the yellow on it from blending earlier. I'm just gonna go ahead and blend. And try to make sure it doesn't like straight line. We don't want a straight line. We want like it to curve and stuff. Curve and stuff. We did it! Okay, great. We're gonna take whatever's left on our brush here, and I'm just gonna pull it through over here. And it shouldn't be too much that's left on here, but it should be just enough to add a little kick of purple to our sky water. To our sky water. That's words that I used right then. You're welcome. A little bit on this side. There. So we've got a little bit of that going on, and now we get to do some clouds. Yay, clouds. Okay, I'm gonna use my fan brush, and I'm going into that purple color, and I'm gonna try to do some clouds that are vaguely like the ones that we see in our reference picture. There we go. And we're gonna blend out the bottom. And I'm gonna use the bigger brush. Much better. And flip up the tops. There we go. Nice, fluffy cloud. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some more. Just do some more. Now these are like little segmented clouds. So I'm gonna try to segment mine a little bit, just to give them a little bit of separation so they're not just like one big clump of cloud. And also it gets some of that like pinky color coming through. I like that. That's good. And this comes up a little bit on this side. Just a little. Not a lot of clouds on this side. But that's okay. This is a big hill on this side. There we go. All right. Looking good. Okay, now this actually gets like a little bit bluer and it's making me very scared, but we're gonna go for it. We're gonna grab a little bit of the blue on our fan brush. We're gonna mix it in with the purple that we have. It's gonna get a little darker. That's okay, that's what we want. And then across here, there's a little hill. A little hill action that happens. Like that. There we go. Nice. Sometimes you have to enjoy things when they work out great. So I'm just going to blend out the bottom of that with a nice clean dry brush. So it's nice and straight. That is a beautiful little thing right there. And now we get to have some fun. I hope you guys are ready for the fun because it's the palette knife time. So obviously that's the fun bit. No one's gonna convince me otherwise. Okay, now we're gonna come in and do, actually I don't want it to be that white. I'm gonna add a little bit of a lavender color to it. So it's still whiter than the lavender color, but it's not stark white. And then we're just gonna come in and add a cute little waterline. You know what I should do? I should show you how I set up the brush. So, the way we set up the brush, okay, so we have our thin paint here. This is very hard, I'm doing it this way. There we go, Kayla. So there's our paint. We've mixed it with a little bit of the goop, and we pulled it out, and then you cut across. You just cut across, just like that, cut across. And then you got a little roll of paint that's even smaller than regularly. And then you want to put the knife down and bend it pretty severely, and that's going to give you a nice little waterline edge. You guys might not be able to see it all that well because it's very subtle, but it is very pretty. And the more subtle and pretty it is, the better in my opinion. Now, we get to add little white highlights to the rest of the water. And then we get to add yellow highlights to that because this sky is a little bit on fire over here. So we're just gonna come through here and just add so that it looks like water. Now I did add a little bit of white so that it shone a little bit more. There we go. And then now I'm going to take, actually, you know what? I'm gonna go a little crazy. I'm gonna get a little bit of cadmium red. I know. We're going off the books. We're getting a little cadmium red. It's gonna be a little bit different, a little bit brighter. But I think it's gonna look really good. So I'm gonna mix that in with our pastel color, and it's just gonna give it a little bit of vibrancy. Just a little bit of vibrancy. And I'm just gonna kind of dance it through the middle here. Just to give this like, oof, it's on fire kind of look. And I think because the sun in the sky in the reference picture actually has a little bit of that orange color around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of it on my liner brush with a little bit of the goop, and I'm just going to kind of line the sun with a little bit of this orange color. So that it kind of reflects that. I'm also going to dance some of it on these clouds, the cloud edges, just to give it this little like life and light is dancing through there. That's what I think. Life and light. And add a little bit of the yellow ochre to it. And a little bit of white. And then continue to add a little bit of life and light to these clouds. And just blend that kind of color out a little bit. There. And I think if I use that color in the sky a little bit, or in the waters a little bit, just a little bit more of the yellow ochre than the peachy color, and just dance that through. It'll help sell this illusion of other colors dancing through here. Yes. And then we're going to go back over it with a little bit of white. Why put so much effort into that? Don't know, but I wanted to. I thought it would add, yes, that was what I was looking for. The paint to break and show all these colors underneath. And then it looks really cool and interesting. Sometimes you have to layer colors in order for them to work the way that you want them to, which is what I did there. So there you go. The rest of the sky is like really clear and like bright and open, and there's like nothing going on in it. So I'm just gonna like really make sure that's nicely blended. Okay, good. And now we can worry about the trees. Isn't that exciting? We're already on the trees and the grass and the grass and the trees. Actually, the grass comes first and then the trees. Surprisingly, you'd think it'd be the other way around, but no, the grass is actually behind and also in front of the trees. But the grass behind the trees is brighter than the grass that is in front of the trees. So, grabbing my sap green, and you can see it is already lighter, which is good. I'm just gonna kind of dab some grass in. And it's gonna get darker as I move away from the area where there's already that color on there, the white. So as I move away from that, it's gonna kind of get darker. Because the sap green is actually a transparent color. So as a result of being transparent, it's just gonna automatically get darker as we get further away. Isn't that convenient? Why, yes. It's almost like you planned that perfectly. Maybe I did. There we go. And now let's do some of the trees, and then we can come back in front of the trees and do some more grass. And my favorite part, of course, means we get to use the palette knife again. I'm actually just gonna lay in this color, I think, and then we'll come back and texture it later. First, we just need to make these trees brown. You know what I mean? They need to be brown. Come here, trees, be brown. There we go. All right, now let's add some texture to them so that when we come back and highlight, the highlight will also be all textured. I missed this whole part of the tree. Come back and put it in. Just like that. There we go. Tree! Look at that tree. Let's do the other side before we get too carried away. I should do this way. Oh geez. So otherwise I'm gonna waste paint. And I don't want to waste paint, but apparently I'm gonna anyways because I can't fathom on how to do this properly. Oh, okay. There we go. Just a little more brown paint. Now I am applying this rather thickly, so if you need to grab more brown paint, please feel free to do so. I almost always need to, so I mean really, just go for it. I'm gonna mix some white in with some of the brown and some of that peachy color, and I'm gonna highlight just the side of this. Now, my reference drawing does not have highlights on the tree, but I wanted a little bit of it, just to show that it's like part of the scenery, you know? Give just a little light, kind of zinging through. I don't want it to be like super bright. I just want like a little bit of it to show that, like, you know, light, direction, and roundness, and things like that. You guys know what I mean, right? I'm like way up on this camera here. There we go. Texture. That's what we like. All right, now we can grab a little bit of the goop and we can mix it in with the brown. By a little bit, apparently I meant a lot. That's okay. I'm trying to get an inky kind of consistency. And we're just gonna kind of go over the lines that I previously made. And that will help to define this as being a thing that exists. Because this tree was like practically blacked out in the picture, but in real life it would have like little highlights that your eyes would pick up that the camera wouldn't necessarily be able to pick up. So that's why I feel justified in what I did there. So just to let you know, I feel justified in highlighting that. Totally not justifying it to you guys right now at all. At any point in time, you can add as many or as little branches as you would like, and you can be as accurate or as inaccurate to your reference picture as you would like. My reference picture happens to have a lot of branches that kind of go horizontally, just like straight out of nowhere, like that. Like they just do that. So I'm trying to like represent that as much as I can, but still make them look kind of tree-like. In all honesty, it actually has one that like curls around and does like this. Like there's a branch that does that apparently, and you know what? I'm leaving it. I'm putting it in. It was just to show you guys that that was there, but I kind of like it, so we're keeping it. But yeah, there's all kinds of like dead branches and stuff on this, so you can keep as much detail as you would like from your reference picture in your drawing or painting as you would like. Obviously, you can make it your own and add whatever flavor you would like, especially when it comes to these tree branches, because tree branches just kind of go wherever they want anyways, so you might as well just go wherever you want anyways. Which is always my plan, is to just do whatever I want anyways. You know? References be damned. If I want to have a branch that has 17, you know, things coming off of it, well then that's what I'm gonna do. And however my tree branches end up looking, that's how they end up looking. You know, wherever they want to go, that's where they went. And I have a tendency of just going with the flow when it comes to my tree branches. I don't feel a lot of need to fight against the storm. If the oil paints want to go a certain way, they'll go a certain way. If they want to go a certain distance, they'll go a certain distance. If they want to be chunky in a spot, they're going to be chunky in a spot. And I'm just going to roll with it because that's kind of the way that I paint. If you want to have more control, please feel free to do so. There are plenty of amazing artists that are hyper detailed using oil paints that focus in on exact references and fix things in multiple layers. If you would like to see an artist like that, Pale Sienna is a great one for that. Don't know if she wants a reference from me, but sometimes you get it. Being amazing. Fiend is another one, if you wanted another one. Okay, I'm gonna mix a little bit of green in with my brown. So I have like a greeny brown, but it's still mostly brown. And I'm just gonna kind of use my fan brush, because needles kind of don't play the same way that like other trees do. So using a fan brush to kind of give you that like shape that pine needles do works out really well, I find anyways. And you want to kind of think about shape and form when you're adding in the leaves. You got to think like, where are your tree branches, and how many leaves would they have, and where would those leaves go, and what lives would they lead, I like to think about that. Where are the animals hiding, and what are they eating, and you want to try to take that into consideration when you're adding in your things. Now that one was a dead branch, so we're gonna leave that one, but the rest of these get a little love, There. A little bit of pine needles. Just a little bit. Just to kind of indicate that they're there, they exist, they're living their best lives right out there. Yeah. And now we just need to take our big brush here and finish popping in all the dark grass that's hiding in here that you can barely see, but we know it's there, so we're gonna make sure to paint it. And we're just gonna go ahead and do that. So it's okay if it touches the brown, it's just gonna make it darker, which is what we like. Yeah. I think what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit, just a little bit of the, well, maybe not on that brush. Maybe back on that brush that I was using. A little bit of the yellow ochre on the brush that has that green and now a little bit of brown. And I'm just going to highlight just a little bit right here. Just to give a little bit, you can't see it. You can't see it at all, but I do a little bit. I'm just going to try to grab a little bit of the thinning, my goop, that's what it's called. The goop, I'm gonna grab a little bit of the goop. And I just wanna have a little highlight. That's just like a little bit brighter, a little bit yellowier, just right where that sunlight is bright. Just like that. Just dancing right in the middle there. It's very subtle of a difference, but it makes a big difference in the overall painting, having that little bit of a bright spot from the sun. And then now I can just blend it in on the sides. You can really see here that it's a little bright spot in the middle. And I just wanted that to be a little bright spot in the middle, just to kind of open it up a little. And again, as I keep tapping, it's going to be picking up some of the green that we already have down, so it's going to get a little darker as we go, and that's what we want. There. In my reference picture, there is a downed branch. I'm just gonna go ahead and try to sculpt in a little branch right here. That's just hanging out. He's going for a little nap, you know? He's like, I don't feel like standing up. Except that there is a part of him that's like, I want to stand up and shout. And that's right there. And he's got all kinds of little things going on up there that you can't really see because they are actually still leaved. Still needled. Got a little bit of needles going on over there. I just have a little bit of branches coming through to kind of say, hello, what's going on? Thought I'd have a little lay down, watch the sunset. And I said, you know, that's a great idea. I think you should have a lay down and watch the sunset. That sounds very nice. It says, why, thank you. So you gotta have little stories sometimes to make your paintings feel more at home. So, I will have the reference picture again next to this one so that you guys can see. Boom, there it is. Looks great, I know. So, thank you guys so much for watching me make that painting, or that picture rather, into a real painting. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you guys have other pictures that you would like to see transformed into paintings, please feel free to contact me and we'll see, maybe I'll do it, you never know. And if you guys would like to join my Patreon, Twitch stream, Etsy store, any of that kind of stuff, please feel free to see the links below. Also, I talk about all the things I use during my stream also in the description below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Remember that you are loved and you deserve to be loved. I'll see you guys next week. Mwah! Oh, next week is gonna be the Palette Knife Monthly Challenge, so please feel free to join us.